The Florida Panthers became the first NHL team to clinch a playoff berth, and they did it in dramatic fashion with a record-setting comeback. Armando Velez of Locked On Panthers is here to talk about that and all things Florida Panthers next on the Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On NHL podcast. Gil Martin, glad to be with you as I am every Monday. And thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the show Armando Velez of Locked On Florida Panthers, a man whose team is the first to clinch a playoff berth. Armando, you got to be feeling pretty good about the way the Panthers are doing things these days.
Thank you once again, Gil, for having me on the show to talk about all things Florida Panthers. And yeah, I'm feeling really good. The Florida Panthers just set a franchise record for 48 wins in a season, and Jonathan Huberdeau setting a single season record for points in a Florida Panthers sweater. So it's really good. I'm going to say the opposite of a quote that one of our fellow Locked On hosts say. I love it here.
Little shout out to Trey. So Trey Matthews, you got to be loving it. I mean, you clinched the playoff berth Saturday after one heck of a dramatic comeback. Talk about that game and how the Panthers pulled this off, because they looked dead in the water early on.
It really started. Of course, the Florida Panthers give up six goals in the first two periods. Sergei Bobrovsky's not looking his best, and this is coming out after Sergei Bobrovsky gets third star of the month, going 7-0-0 in the month of March, and not his best game. The Florida Panthers were just not they weren't firing early as they usually do. The broadcast was saying that the New Jersey Devils were out panthering the Panthers. They were saying that because of the possession differential, the shot differential. At one point, it was 18-6 in favor of New Jersey at one point. And really, it started with a penalty at the end of the second period by New Jersey that expired. So the Florida Panthers were going into that period not only on the power play with a full 2 minutes going into that period, but they also made a goalie change going into Spencer Knight with Spencer Knight. And the Florida Panthers just dominated the third period, putting 23 shots on goal in that period alone, and not putting pressure on Spencer Knight going the other way. So really, that's really how it came about. And the Florida Panthers got 2 goals on 6-on-5s, one with just less than 5 minutes left. And the very goal that the Florida Panthers scored to tie the game by Alexander Barkov. You want to know who's the one who won the draw late in that on the offensive zone? Claude Giroux.
What kind of an impact has Giroux had since he arrived?
He's had a great impact in the locker room, and he's definitely been one that nobody has a bad thing to say about Claude Giroux. He hasn't scored a goal yet, but he's averaging a point per game, 7 points in 7 games. He's definitely distributing on the offensive end as well. He's on the first power play unit. The thing is with the Florida Panthers, they were trying to run a 5 forward power play unit for the first few games, but ever since the game on Saturday against the New Jersey Devils, right in the beginning of the third period, they decided to go back to 4F1D on the power play unit, with Mackenzie Weegar up at the point. Of course, with no Aaron Ekblad, it's going to be a little difficult to replace that on the man advantage. So Claude Giroux is definitely getting his chances. Even in the game against the Buffalo Sabres, there was a chance that he had on a double deflection on the most recent in their first power play of the game. There was multiple chances right in front of the net. So, but as far as the goal scoring department, I'm not worried about Claude Giroux. He's definitely creating opportunities for like big rebounds as well to set up other teammates.
And how about Ben Sherratt? How has he been doing? 3 points in his first 6 games with the Panthers. What has he been able to do, and how is he fitting in?
It's been a little bit of a trial and error for the coaching staff. At first, they put him with Mackenzie Weegar on the top pairing, but then Andrew Burnett, who's been on this coaching staff for 3 years, even when he was an assistant, now coming in as the interim, he saw how well that Forsling Weegar line looked for the top pairing back in the playoffs last year when Aaron Ekblad went down with that fractured leg. So he decided to go back to that Forsling Weegar top pairing and put Ben Sherratt with Radko Gudas. So two hard hitting defensemen, too on the same pairing. They're right now on that second pairing. And Ben Sherratt scored a goal just the other day for the Florida Panthers early on. So he's been a great impact and one person who's definitely helped the Panthers when needed to clear the zone, and definitely one that the Bill Zito has been raving about ever since he's come on for the Florida Panthers.
Right now, your team is over 100 points for the season. They've got a pretty comfortable lead, not locked in yet, but a pretty comfortable lead over Toronto and Tampa Bay for first place. How important is it for this Florida Panthers team to lock up the division title?
Extremely important. It's not only the division title, but the Florida Panthers fans, everyone who writes about this team, podcasts about this team, is looking at that wild card as well, because the 2 through 4 in the Atlantic is just separated by just a few points. So really, if the Florida Panthers don't go on a skid, really the team to watch really is the Carolina Hurricanes and their wins and losses, because if the Florida Panthers don't go on a skid, they're going to finish the top spot in the Eastern Conference. So now that they have the same amount of games played as the Carolina Hurricanes, there's a 4-point differential really in that. So really my attention is more like on the games of the Carolina Hurricanes right as of right now, unless the Florida Panthers go on a skid. And the thing is, with the Atlantic Division, everyone of the top 4 teams right now in the Atlantic, everyone plays each other in the next few weeks. So unless one team sweeps the other 2 or 3, then there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And I'm looking at that Maple Leafs Tampa Bay Lightning game on Monday night, where they're both tied for points at 93 right now. So it's very important. Now I believe it's a 9-point differential in the Atlantic without looking up the standings right now.
Yes.
But so it's a big lead for the Panthers. Even Andrew Burnett after the game, which what I like from Andrew Burnett of what his comments said is like, it's good that they clinched the playoff berth, but the job is not done. They still have to go out every night to play their game and to play to the best of their ability. Tuesday, they have a very important game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who thankfully, for the Florida Panthers' sake, they're on their second end of a back-to-back, while the Florida Panthers will have some rest. So don't know who will start in goal for Toronto, but it took until late March for the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs to play their first matchup of the season, and the Maple Leafs got the best of the Panthers in that one. So looking for 2 more matchups against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it starts all on Tuesday at FLA Live Arena.
Should be a good one. What does that comeback on Saturday say about this Florida Panthers team?
It just says so much resilience and that they're never out of it for this team. I mean, here's a stat for you, Gil. In the last 10 years, since January of 2010, including the playoffs, NHL teams are 936-2 when trailing by at least 4 goals entering the third period. And after that, it became 2. Those 2 wins were both by the Panthers. The first one came in 2019, going into the third period of losing 4-0 against the Boston Bruins, and the Florida Panthers ended up winning that one in a shootout. That was a Sam Montembeault start at the time. So it just says that this Florida Panthers team is very resilient. And let's backtrack a little bit to late November, early December. In the same week, the Florida Panthers were down at home by 3 goals, once to the Washington Capitals, the other time to the Buffalo Sabres, and they came back both times to win it. And also, the Florida Panthers, before the All-Star and Olympic break, only won 1 game on the road when their opposition scored first. And that was a shootout win on the road against Vancouver. Since the All-Star / Olympic break, they've done it 7 times. So that is a formula for whenever you go on the road in the playoffs, which hopefully the Florida Panthers will have home ice advantage throughout the whole postseason. But it just goes to show that no matter the environment that they go into, that they feel the confidence that they can win in any building in the NHL.
You could feel the confidence growing. There's no doubt about that. Armando, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find you on social media and where they could find the podcast?
They can follow me on Twitter at MondoMan12. Follow the show account at LO_FLA Panthers. And something that I've been doing a lot recently, at least in the last few days, has been going live after games. So it's been a lot of fun doing it live not exactly, but a few minutes after the game. So I've been having a lot of fun doing that. So come on over and join along the ride. It's gonna be a fun one.
All right, Armando Velez, always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Gil, as always.